Smoking. Today we're celebrating the 800th day of the never-ending second winter. And we thought we would celebrate with...
the Boston Marathon. We're doing Boston.
Oh. So to celebrate either or of those things, we're doing Boston's debut album.
Yeah. Tommy Schultz, I think his name is.
This is the first one we're doing where I know nothing about the band, nor do I care. But I've heard this entire album via classic rock radio, so I'm semi-qualified to listen to it, and that's about it.
Yes, and you can have an opinion, too.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard it on the radio, so I am therefore an expert.
Yes, this is Boston today. We've heard it.
A little bit of background. Tommy Schultz basically made this album in his spare time. He was a sound engineer, and he was learning how to use all the new products and stuff, and basically wrote this album, and they signed his band, quote unquote, and then he had to come up with a band because he did everything himself, and that's how you got the lineup. He went and found all his studio friends, got them all together and said, hey, you want to be in a band?
I gotta say, this album is, was he engineering a lot of, this was 1976, was he engineering a lot of arena groups? Because this is pretty ambitious right off the bat. Where he's aiming right for that mid-70s arena bullshit.
Little Grand Funk Railroad. Yeah, he was apparently pretty well known. I had never heard of him.
I'm just gonna make up some facts about him. He was born in
Boston.
He was just another a man out of Boston, on the road trying to make ends meet.
Ooh.
And then he...
slept in his car a lot.
Mm-hmm. And then one day, Satan showed up in his Chevy van. And
Satan,
signed him to a contract.
Hey, buddy.
And said, hey, it's the 70s. Quit smoking dope. Here, sign this and you can play to 4,000-seat mini arenas in...
I think that's exactly how it happened.
In eastern Iowa. He's like, all right, dude. All right.
I would love to do that.
Unless you have any more facts you would like to make up, we can get it started.
Well, the drummer died last year, and I believe it was because he didn't fulfill his obligation to the almighty Satan.
That makes sense.
He was supposed to keep his afro throughout history, and he ended up shaving it off, and then he lost all his power. He was unable to play the drums again.
I wonder if there's anyone who has or will ever cry at the death of any member of Boston.
Long live Sib!
All right.
Here we go.
More Than a Feeling. Fun trivia fact. I've heard this song 8,267 times.
Well, it basically is the definition of the 70s, right?
Yeah, it's a giant sheen of good vibrations.
And often repeated.
The one thing I will say about Boston is that... I can't think of anything. They had a great dynamic where they could do smooth, like borderline yacht rock stuff, and they could amp it up to like give the whole arena a boner.
Right.
So they had good variation there, but yet mostly to me it comes across as fairly milquetoast.
I think that's why it was universally popular.
That's true. There is
this
nothing...
album is like still on the charts.
There's nothing...
People still purchase this? Can't you just hear it on the radio every 60 minutes?
I think this is the least artistically inclined album we've done so far.
It's very simple.
It's very straightforward. Yeah, he knew what he was going for, and...
It's good for washing the dishes, too.
Yeah, it's like... You can hear the imaginary crowd screaming in the background, so you can take it to that level of like, woo, we're at the Corn Palace. But it's mellow enough where you can also do your laundry.
Yeah, a little light dusting.
I do enjoy the very clean clapping sound in the corners, where he's like, so how do I train the audience?
Right.
To clap along when it comes time where I'm on stage with my chest hair hanging out. Woo! I don't think it's true, but I have this theory that most of who's the I Want You to Want Me band?
Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick. That most of that crowd noise was just added in post. Because no audience outside of Beatlemania has ever been that excited about anything.
Well,
And they're just screaming the entire way through. There's no way.
Well, that was in Japan. They didn't even know what was happening. They were just cheering to be anywhere but on the streets.
But I thought Japanese audiences were really pretty subdued. I don't know.
Apparently not. Not when it comes to rock bands. They love American rock bands.
How do you know when it's more than a feeling?
See,
This guy had a great falsetto.
I feel like he was just sitting there thinking, I need to write something for people who, like, Led Zeppelin's just a little too hard for me. Give me something a little bit easier to wrap my brain around.
Oh, yeah, this is lyrically...
This is simple.
It's lyrically perfectly in the middle of the road where, yeah, it reminds me of... I know you have no idea what the reference is, but the cartoon Aqua Teen Hunger Force is just a scene where the Cup guy, Master Shake, is sitting in his room trying to write songs on an electric guitar, and he's going, "You make me feel emotional." And that was one of his songs. And this is kind of that, where you're just trying to do... What do all people experience? Emotions? Alright, that was more than a feeling.
Now it's time for...
I'm gonna do drunk Jeff Goldblum for the rest of this podcast.
Jesus.
Alright, here's Peace of Mind.
Now this one's up a little bit.
We were just another... I'll try not to dump on this too much, but... So I'll get it out of the way. Every song Boston ever did sounds exactly the same.
I told you. This is nice and easy and accessible.
Yeah. I
don't think anybody cares what the words are. The music's so nice, and I feel like my mom was rocking out to this. And... this is about as heavy as she would go. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah. Because the thing is, this doesn't fall into the... It falls into the mellow category. It's not really yacht rock. It's not like Toto. Because Toto was pretty smooth.
Right.
This is like... This is in some weird no man's land between 70s rock, like real quote-unquote rock, and kind of the light rock that was getting popular around the mid-70s onward. For one thing, you can't hear the drums. Two, the guitars are so compressed. It's just like a wave of mild distortion at all times in the corners. It's like...
I'm telling you, yeah. And back to that. This is what my mom would think was, I was really rocking out to some Boston. Okay, Mom.
Stop listening to my Boston album, Mom. But it's so good.
But it feels like you're doing something really... rock and roll when it's really kind of just pretty top 40 accessible type.
It's bobbing music. Do people in Boston like Boston?
Whoa, that's deep.
Do people in Europe like Europe?
Well, I feel like he just wanted to show everybody, look, I can play the guitar and I can overlay it like 40 times.
Yeah, it almost sounds like this dude, he was just trying to make a demo reel of how... Because I will give him that. It's like a perfectly mixed album. So it almost seems like an accident where he was just trying to create a demo reel and was like, it's like, oh my god, I can write really good songs. I should rock across America. I just imagine that's how he talks.
Yeah, you could go see this in a cowboy hat.
Hey, it's me, Boston guy. Oh, that's precious. Ziggy's butthole is in the shape of a heart.
Yeah, because he loves you. This much.
Take a look ahead.
No, a compliment I have for this album is when you listen to other albums that come after it, there's so many albums where for at least 10 years after, everybody had a song that sounded like something off the Boston album. They'd always say, give me something radio friendly, and it would sound somewhat like this. Not necessarily this song, but you could pick any song off of here and probably find a doppelganger somewhere on somebody's 80s album.
Well, this might have been what ruined Chicago. They might have heard this and been...
That's what I was trying to do all along!
Crap, we were rocking too hard.
But he really likes the guitar solos, I think.
But they're very, very structured, so I don't even know if you can call this a solo. It's just like nice filler.
Maybe in the basic sense.
Nice filler until the end of the song.
What's next? Oh, now we're getting artsy-fartsy.
This is great. I have nothing sarcastic or ironic to say about it. The beginning of this song is... Unless I'm thinking of something else. No, this is great.
Well, this is kind of like Emerson, Lake and Palmer or something at the beginning. It's like
if this intro wasn't on this song, this album would be the most middle of the road.
Right. Here's your big artistic
thing ever.
I wonder if it's the first song he did.
He probably did this, and then Emerson, Lake and Palmer were like suddenly on their way out, and it wasn't selling anymore. And he was like, "Oh, gotta do something more radio friendly."
No kidding.
People don't like ELP anymore. Yeah.
Well, this is one of those DJ has to go to the bathroom cuts. Like Cashmere from Led Zeppelin. You hear that go on, you're like, you know where the DJ is right now.
Smoking some doobage.
On the toilet. Well, the dog is enjoying himself immensely. Wee, 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 wee. That's your synthesizer stuff right there. Oh, now it's nighttime. Or dawn. Maybe it's dawn. We were like, that was all over the entire evening, and now it's dawn is breaking, and it's time for the next part of the song.
This like 5-second snippet sounds just like we don't need no, and then it stops. Yeah. So
who came first?
The goal of this podcast, I suppose, is trying to figure out what makes something universal. I mean, I know not everybody likes this because I don't like it, but I can respect it. No, I can't respect it. It's good. I can recognize that it's a thing that enters my ears that doesn't offend me, and it has
like
enjoyable.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell 1 billion albums because you can't say anything's wrong with this.
It's basically it.
It's like a Milli Vanilli album.
so it's what exactly is that quality that where something doesn't push anyone away, and so it's just kind of there and universal, because there aren't really that many of those albums. Just it's pretty rare when there's something that does push the boundaries, that does sell a ton, like Purple Rain or Thriller.
Here's what I think. Let me say this and see if that helps. The word I think of as efficacy. This thing it has the effect it intends to. It's like, it comes in, lots of people like it, it's mass consumable, and you don't have to think about it too much. And I think a lot of people like that.
That might be it. It's got enough energy and hooks where it can get people hyped up and get radio airplay, but it's so, for lack of a better word, blandly produced. I mean, it's well produced, but everything is super condensed and inoffensive. There's nothing shrieky, or there's no risk taking on this. It's just But I guess it's just damn good, above average songwriting with flash, but not too much flash, I guess.
Like an album made in a studio. It's milquetoast. It's easy. It's very accessible. It's been such a long time.
I just can't quite put my finger on it. It's very friendly. It's such a damn friendly album.
Right. Pretty inoffensive. All across the board.
Nothing jumps out or tries to surprise me or beat me over the head. It's
Now, one thing I will say that I think is positive is it's got that Phil Spector invented wall of sound to it, where there isn't a place where there isn't sound. And that was still big in the 70s. You know, that fill every moment up with noise.
Or I think they were trying to capture an actual arena sound, because it sounds... I mean, you can't get sound this pristine live, but it's close to that just cavernous arena sound.
Right.
To me, the Phil Spector thing was more like... Because this is very cavernous. It's not like there's a ton of instruments. Like Phil Spector would throw ton of everything was really heavy in the mix, and he was just kind of shoehorning things in there.
Right. Almost like this was an experiment that a record executive took seriously, and he was like, all right, I think this will play. Like I said, my understanding was it was just an engineer playing around with sounds and songwriting and stuff, and this is what he came up with. It's just so accessible. It's like you can put a Boston album on in a barber shop. You can play while you're grocery shopping. This is inoffensive. And like I said, even my mom liked it, and she doesn't like rock music per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's Rock and Roll Band.
So what do you think? Do you hear anything on here that led to something that you don't like? I know you don't like how uninventive it is, but that's a lot of the 70s too. There was a whole lot of stuff that didn't make it that got played a lot in the 70s, right? Or the 80s. There's a lot of things that you just like, every once in a while you'll hear it in the grocery store and go, oh yeah, that existed.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Band.
This album just confuses me because it's pretty much easy listening, but you can tell it's supposed to be really exciting. And I guess it would be if it were like crazy live atmosphere, but I just can't quite put my finger on it because the closest thing I can think of and maybe to compare is Toto.
Okay.
But they weren't really that hard. They weren't attempting a kind of hard driving rock.
You know what I think of that was at the same time? Foghat. Mm-hmm. Foghat was really big around the same time.
But they had balls.
And they had, I was going to say, they had like that bluesy soul to it. Something along the lines of Aerosmith, too. It's like, this is like all the soft tracks from albums, but it's all on one album. All the lighter fare. We don't want to rock too hard. Like I said, that's my overriding theme on this. We don't want to rock too hard.
It's amazing because it has the illusion of being exciting. I'm not saying it isn't exciting. It's exciting. It's like, yeah, it doesn't rock too hard, but there's this kind of energy content to it that's like, yay, yay, hooray, motivating. So
like they're so excited doing it, you're almost excited even though it doesn't sound as exciting to you.
I cannot put my finger on it because there's no balls.
So we're back to another guitar solo.
Because performance-wise, there's no balls to it. Production-wise, there's no balls to it because there's no low end and there's nothing going on with the guitars really in an interesting kind of tangible way. There's there's nothing remotely artsy or avant-garde going on, risk-taking. I think it's just like upbeat, catchy songs.
It's very of the time. You just imagine all these guys. They don't have really long hair. They have shoulder-length hair. And they all wear flannel shirts. They don't wear ripped-up shirts. They all...
I think I'm making the mistake of thinking of them as an actual rock band, when in reality, if you think of them more as like just a Maroon... of their time, like a Maroon 5 type, pop rock, pop band, quote-unquote, then it's like, all right, fine. Maybe for some reason I just keep... I'm like...
They filled arenas up with girls and stoned guys.
All right, here's Smoking.
This is their big house rocker. See, now they're trying to be like Foghat. But you notice it's still so white. They're just like, damn.
I think that's the problem is... Like I say almost every time we do this, is I visualize music. I don't really hear it. I mean, I hear it, but and so I just have an image of any music I hear or bands, like song to song and album to album and overall as a band. And for Boston, I have no image. It's just like a piece of white bread on a sheet of paper, like notebook paper. That's it.
Not even notebook paper. No lines.
I have no impression of Boston. They're just a thing that exists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Music to clip your toenails.
I'm not just going to be a snarky head. All right. He clearly knew how to write songs. He was just packaging them in the most easy to digest medium he possibly could. Some people just want to sell out from the beginning, and Mr. Boston did.
I don't feel like it's a sellout if he's
that's
a
what he wanted.
producer.
You're right.
He produced, and
You're right.
I personally don't feel like it's a sellout when I want to showcase all the stuff I can do. I feel like he wasn't even intending originally for this to be anything but he was playing around with all the gadgets he had at his disposal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say that. Like, I do not want to say that this isn't really good at what it was originally intended to be. But it's still kind of like, wow, so this is what rock and roll sounds like if you take all of the blues out of it. It's like if you just completely whitewash it like those 60s, the white guys that would cover an old man, I wish I could think of an example. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but in the 60s when a hit a black group would have a hit and then some white guy would do it, and then it would just be like, whoa, you have really turned this into white bread on unlined paper. That's like I'm using your example because it's like that's what it sounds like.
This isn't gonna make anybody's backbone slide.
you Paul Anka the crap out of this.
And I will apologize, I misspoke. He didn't sell. It's not selling out if it's what you intended from the beginning. If he was doing like Delta Blues in some bar before this,
right,
that would have been selling out. So I misspoke. I apologize, Dr. Boston.
Well, I think of like 30 Seconds to Mars with Jared Leto. I listen to that and everybody acts like that's just such a great innovative thing, and I'm just like, it just sounds like, the 2000s version of Boston, really, if you think about it. It's just like,
okay, yeah,
everybody's just technically doing everything right.
That's it. The compositions of the song, lyrics aside and production aside, the basic performance and the compositions of the song are really exciting. It's just he does nothing else with them. The production is sterile.
Yeah, there's no proverbial balls to it.
Yeah, lyrically it's not saying anything. It's basically just a pop album. That's fine.
Yeah.
So just on a basic compositional level, it's exciting. I do like Hitch a Ride. So there is one song in this album that I'm not indifferent about.
Well, I liked this one when I was a kid because it was a nice introduction into something that was a little harder.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, see, there should have been more of this on here. Because I legitimately enjoyed this song.
Now, is that just an acoustic guitar he's playing, or is that a 12-string? Can you tell?
It's a 6-string.
I like the way it sounds. Look, they harmonize. I don't know who he's harmonizing with because he made it himself.
Like
Harmonize with myself.
See, he does yacht rock really well. That was his actual calling. I mean, I'm sure he made $1 bajillion with this, but
yeah.
I think he should have gone by his real name and gone into the yacht rock and sailed away.
Well, again, it goes back to it's largely inoffensive. There's nothing on here. I mean, smoking is a veiled reference to getting high, I guess. But in such a almost radio-friendly way that, like, still, again, inoffensive. It's like he could be talking about smoking a pipe for all you know.
Or just, she's smoking.
It's almost like he thought, hey, I want all of this to be able to be played on the radio. And I don't think everybody thinks that way.
I do like his use of organ. That's nice.
Still pretty uninteresting. See, now you got me saying it. It's not uninteresting. It's just not special. Oh, guitar solo. So you're of the mind that this is just one continuous song.
Yeah. Now that you say it.
Okay.
It's amazing because this isn't that different from Grand Illusion.
Mm-hmm. Of the same era.
But yet it's totally different. Like, Styx was clearly trying to make a statement.
Yeah, I don't think this was supposed to be a concept or anything.
You couldn't possibly make less of a statement on here unless he had a song that says, I'm not making a statement. But even that would be like making a statement. Because it would become, like, self-referential.
Okay, how about this? One of the facts I know about Tommy Schultz, who's the
Tommy Shaw?
Schultz. He is an engineer, so everything for him would be about math and making it exactly what it should be. And if you think about this in terms of he wants everything to sound exactly right, everything sounds exactly right.
To a fault. It's overly pristine.
Right.
Where he doesn't...
That I will agree.
He doesn't let any instrument breathe on here. It's especially the guitars. It's just it might as well be a synthesizer.
It feels restrained.
Might as well just be synthesizers.
Ooh, we're gonna get massacred.
I would love. I wouldn't love it, but I think it'd be kind of interesting to hear somebody do a total remix of this album and just like remove the compression, just let the instruments breathe. Instead of this constant pristine stereo guitar sound that's throughout the album, just kind of just put it like do a mostly not completely mono, but just kind of a duophonic type of thing.
Now that you've got me paying attention to all these
down mix,
how perfect the production is on it, and you've got me thinking about how it's like, wow, I never noticed that before. The guitar is perfectly balanced between both of my ears.
And you really can't hear the drums for
nothing moves back and forth, even for an effect, really. It's all perfectly balanced in both ears. If I could only hear out of one speaker, I would hear the entire album without anything missing. There's nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he balanced it so perfectly.
Have you ever heard this song? This is the only one here I don't know.
I've heard it.
As far as our podcasts go, this one might have Jagged Little Pill beat as far as radio airplay.
In mind?
Yeah.
Right? Most of the songs are exactly the right length. Nobody wants to play anything too long or too short.
I wonder if this is ever a thorn in his side. He's like, damn it, I almost created a perfect album except for
they play
you.
Every single song on this album on the radio. You know, on the classic rock stations. Anything album-oriented.
Hey, thank God this is short. This is almost over.
Yeah?
Chris. Chris. Chris!
Listen, I can hear I'm patting him, and you can hear it. Ziggy wants us to not do Boston anymore, so we've only got...
Is Boston over?
Would you like to do La Tapestry?
Ah, sure.
Because this one is short, thank God, and we can just seg right into Carole King's Tapestry.
All right.
Such an open mind. No, he did really well. He actually complimented a couple of things about the album, and I'm really proud of him for that. Because this is not his thing at all. He stepped way out of his...
Aww.
It's like, it's all I ask. Step out of your boundaries. Listen to something. Maybe you'll find something you appreciate about it.
Hey, I'm
not necessarily, but it turned. He tried.
I'm not one of those people who has to jump to extremes when critiquing anything. Sometimes things are just fine, and this falls into fine. And it has some bright moments on it. It's pretty. Some of the stuff I like. Hitch a Ride. I like that song. I like the beginning of. I like Long Time. And this guy made $1 gajillion. How am I going to argue with that?
He did something right.
Clearly spoke to someone. I don't think he spoke to anybody's soul. No. But it was something that it fills airspace nicely. It's like a giant chunk of just
It's like the mashed potatoes of your meal.
It is. This whole thing is just. It is. It's like shoving mashed potatoes in my ear, and occasionally, like some garlic will get in there, and like, ooh, that's nice.
We can't just play Pink Floyd all the time. So we'll play a Boston song.
What's the word, like apotheosis? This does kind of corrode my soul because I'm constantly looking for things that push the boundaries. But I also just love dumb pop music.
Okay, we're coming up with the last song. And just to let everybody know, it is Let Me Take You Home Tonight.
And I love crappy...
But not in a bad way, because nothing on here is very...
And I love crappy yacht rock.
And I'll tell you when it starts.
But this album falls into neither one of those categories. It's like at the perfect epicenter of just digestibility. Ooh, he did a Christmas album. Here we go. Oh, it was just one song. Here's how it probably goes. God rest you, you merry gentlemen. There's nothing you dismay.
How'd you know? Well, I don't know it.
Did you ever hear that cover of, I don't know if it was Quiet Riot or... There's two those bands who have like the same song. One of them did a cover of... a hard rock cover of... what's that fucking Christmas song? Damn it, never mind.
God rest ye, merry gentlemen.
It sounds like We're Not Gonna Take It. What's the Christmas song that has the same tune? Oh, come all you faithful. So it was either Quiet Riot or...
That sounds like Twisted Sister to me. That sounds like something Dee Snider would do.
Yeah, because Quiet Riot and Dee Snider's band. They both had that song that has like pretty much the same tune.
Of the same era.
Okay, we're not gonna take it. And what was it? Please.
I Want to Rock.
Here's.
Oh, here it is.
Let me take you home tonight.
Let me take you home tonight. Let me take you home tonight.
He's not like this. He's really kind of shy.
Yeah.
But when he gets this feeling,
deep in his pants.
Yeah, it's just kind
I
of.
want to take you home tonight.
Oh, you know what this is? It's like if Sammy Johns, the Chevy van guy, attempted to write a crowd-pleasing arena rock album. We made love in my Chevy van, and that's all right with me.
And when you're playing in an arena, this is the song you probably play just before the drum solo that goes on for 10 minutes, so everybody can go take a whiz.
Sorry, folks, I only have 12 songs. Yeah, this is also the first one where I know nothing at all.
I wish I knew somebody that
I
ever
don't-
went to a Boston concert so I could find out when this album was out. What did he cover to fill up the time?
Because he at least knows
'Cause-
the guy's name and his job before he did this. I don't know.
He was on the show I watched. There was this really awesome documentary that George Martin made, and I learned so much about how music is made that it gave me like a new respect for things that I just never listened to because I didn't get it.
It's amazing how short these podcasts go and we don't actually have anything to say in the intro.
Well, we do absolutely no homework before we listen to them, so that's kind of a...
I'll start doing homework when the big bucks start rolling. I have the opposite approach. Instead of
Well, we did a couple of them where I at least went and listened to the album before you came over, so at least I freaking remember, like, oh, I'll think of something to say about that. When you make it up on the fly.
We should do Gary Wright's Dreamweaver album. Dreamweaver.
Is that the only song?
Sorry, I
you
just
know?
caught up in the harmonies, man. I'm just like jamming out.
You
You know what this needed? They didn't have it yet, but they needed some of that Michael McDonald.
Ooh. I think he was around by this point.
I don't
I
know.
think he'd done some Steely Dan albums. Yeah, because he was on Asia. Asia came out in like 75, 74. I'm trying to picture. Michael McDonald would have... Yeah, I want to do a special Michael McDonald mix.
This has got to be the most benign I want to sleep with you song. I just think
Yeah.
maybe if you might like to...
Before you showed up, we're just talking about generic emotions to appeal to the most people. Like, more than a feeling, there's something about you. And now he's talking about... What did he just say here?
I like the way you look.
Yeah,
I want to take you home tonight. I like the way you smell. That was a whole verse.
I feel a feeling whenever you walk by. I'm feeling emotions.
Which women generally like it when you tell them you like the way they smell, even when they don't smell so great.
I feel
I don't know, the
emotions.
statement, I'm feeling emotions, that used to be a real stretch for any man to actually say out loud.
I'm feeling emotions.
I mean, this was all pre-sensitive new age guy.
And everybody was stoned. So-
Well, you take Genesis. No, like, women didn't start showing up to their concerts until they wrote "Follow You, Follow Me." So they weren't even acknowledging actual emotions until
Yeah,
that
this
song.
is like way
What are women? What are
intersectional
women?
Politics and
Females? What are females?
So the best thing that ever happened in Genesis was they discovered, like, oh shit, we could be getting laid.
Listen, it turns into like a church thing at the end. So that's it. That's the end of Boston.
Yeah,
now we can say sayonara and Brett can stop chewing on his fingernails.
that
We're trying
album-
to figure out what to say about it.
That album petered out really
I guess
quickly.
I'll have to.
There was no filler.
I have to do the synopsis because he does not care.
Well, I'll go first.
Okay, go.
It's very concise. He knows when to... It doesn't try to... It just ends. So that's nice. It's very short. And at least the one song that wasn't a hit just sounded like the first song. So it gave the illusion that there wasn't any filler in it. But whatever, your turn.
I like this album, but mostly because of memories, not because of, like, yeah, I can listen to it now and go, come on, this wasn't anything special. And yet, in a way, it was, because this guy figured out how to get every stinking song he wrote on the radio. Every single one. That's crazy.
How many beaches do you have to give to the devil?
Like, how does that even, he was very tight playing with himself, I guess. Yeah, everything sounds very exact, which bothers Brett, but I think that's why it gets lots of radio play. Because it's so easy. There's nothing complicated, and there's nothing controversial. In the 70s, when everybody was being controversial and trying to sneak sex in every which way they could fit it into a song without actually saying it, it's like every double entendre you've ever heard is on some album in the 70s. And this one's like, even when he does that, it's so light and, let me take you home tonight, because I've got this new thing called a VCR and we could watch a movie on it.
This is definitely not about sex.
Yeah. It's like, would you like to come home and have some s'mores?
Would have been awesome if the last song was just called God Doesn't Exist.
Mormons probably love Boston's first album. It's like, you can do everything but...
Yeah.
We'll just end that on offending the Mormons. All right.
Perfect.
Tapestry.